Hello, Scorpio. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh, and welcome to your July 2023 readings. We're going to take a look at the next 6 to 8 weeks to help you navigate every opportunity, many of the challenges, and some of the surprises. That's what this is all about. It's about free will. The format is as follows. I'm going to get into the Celtic Cross in just about 2 or 3 minutes, but I like to begin first with channeled messages. Channeled messages give me a chance to basically connect directly to spirit through both dreams and meditations and give you a download. Once we do that, we'll shuffle the cards and basically get an even more in-depth view of what's coming through. So why don't I tell you about what I saw today? I saw this opportunity for you to step up, to stand out, to make a splash. I also saw a couple of challenges with that, and I'm going to help you navigate it. Ultimately, it's a good thing, but for any of you that have gone through, increased visibility, then you know what I'm talking about. It's hard to please everyone. And to be honest, I don't really think that's the point. I think one of the powerful things you're going to realize this month is, to be able to make a difference, sometimes you have to shake things up, the status quo a little bit. So we're going to talk about star power, some revelations that come with that, and the ability to lead by example. First things first here with the star power. So I just saw a sea of stars. I was looking up in my dreams last night, and I was just looking out at the cosmos, and it was beautiful. And I realized that the sign that I was going to read for next had a chance to expand, but also to stand out from that sea of stars. So you're stepping into an opportunity in this month that could bring with it increased visibility, additional doors that could open from this, so one opportunity leading to others. And because of this, there's of course going to be people that have, a critique, a thought, maybe even some negativity. And that happens sometimes when people step up. Some people can embrace it. Some people get jealous. You're not going to let their jealousy of your sort of progress get in the way of more progress. At least that's what I'm hoping as we talk through all of this here. Before we even kind of address that, one thing that I'd like to encourage you to sort of like clear out of your energy is this fear or anxiety that maybe you can't do it. It's normal. Most performers, whether they're athletes, musicians, or even just someone that's giving a public speech of some sort, you get butterflies. You think, is it going to be okay? Will I be able to pull it all together? Imposter syndrome, some people call it. If you can use it as like, take those butterflies and let them fly and get out of the way and just say, I want to make this the best possible moment that I can. Let's just go for it. Good. If you're starting to get in your head too much, take a deep breath, ground yourself, and just say, all I can do today is the very best that I can do. And if it's not good enough for others, that's kind of not something that's within your control at some point. As long as you've done your work, that's the best that you can do, and let the naysayers be naysayers. I would love for you too, if you're in a place where things are opening up, use this platform, use this visibility to make a splash and make a difference in a way that you've always wanted. So this is really a chance to shine. And that's the key energy this month, is the spotlight's on you. Now we have in the sidelines some people that might be trying to challenge that. The reason that I was encouraging you in the previous slide to be confident and to embrace opportunity is that if there's hesitation, if there's fear, people sniff it out. It's kind of like bloodhounds on the sidelines. They can sniff out that, and then what we're getting is a 7 of Swords character. This doesn't have to happen. Step one is just to basically say, I've got this, and I'm not nervous, and I can do it, and then maybe this person won't even show up. But if they do show up, here's how you can recognize it, and here's how you can handle it, at least based on what I was seeing in my dreams. The way that they showed up was, you had this moment where the eyes were on you. It was a small group. It felt like it was 10 or 15 people, but they were praising you. There was this attention. You were doing well. And then there was someone that just took a cheap shot or made a comment that was sort of like sarcastic or whatever, and it stunned you. So by you even just tuning in, you're going to be aware of people in the sidelines that may try to come in and interrupt. And you're going to be able to push that off and say, we can hold that question in just a moment, or let me finish here. And you can even just sort of recognize that this isn't something that you need to engage with. But let's say it happens. Let's say someone takes a cheap shot or something like that. What you're going to do is basically redirect the energy and say, thanks for your feedback, or, everybody's welcome to comment. It needs to stay positive. It needs to stay constructive, and that's not really what we're looking for in this moment. So please hold that. We can talk later after the meeting. You can just shut them down if you need to, but in a really polite way. And I think the better thing is to, at the beginning, if you do have the podium, is to say when and how questions are going to be addressed, and make sure that you're controlling the narrative there. Good leaders know how and when to engage with questions. They might have someone that can help with that. But if, let's just say you're doing well in your life, and a sister or a brother or a friend, it doesn't have to be in a workplace or at school, they just randomly take a shot. You could remind people that success, there's room for many stars in the sky. So your success doesn't mean that someone else can't be successful. And you don't have to take it too much to heart. You could just say, I just really would love if you could be happy for me in this moment, because I'm always happy when you succeed. And I think it's kind of sad if that's not the case. But probably if you're dealing with Seven of Swords, they don't care. So I would say it's better to move on and to not be too stunned, not to put too much energy or attention, just to shift the narrative. But I do think that's going to help you. And maybe if you do have a heart-to-heart with them later, your success can be an inspiration. It does not have to be a challenge. There's room for many stars. There's room for many people to succeed. And when and if someone shows their true colors, at the very least, no matter how weird that interaction was, it is a blessing, because you're not going to waste time on that person or that group of people again. They have shown up. They have revealed themselves. You can now continue to rise up and focus on something better than that. And the older I get, the more I realize I don't want to go low and meet them there. I'm just going to move on. It's kind of the equivalent of hitting the ignore button on a comment or something. Like, I don't need to deal with this. It's not worth your energy. You have better things to do right now. So when you get a lemon, make lemonade here. And I saw the bittersweet lemon, which is a beautiful fruit. And basically, what I do love about it is I connect it to the sun, solar energy. It's bright, it's powerful. And I think this month you have the ability we're using 2 stars to sum up your energy, to be positive, to pull some order in disorder or chaos, to build a better sort of version of something. And basically your power, your personality, your potential are going to be able to outshine some small detraction or some small setback. All right, everybody, let's get into the main part of the reading. I'm going to do a quick Celtic Cross shuffle. We already got a volunteer that popped out here. And let's see what this month has in store for you. So we have the Seven of Swords that popped out. There was a reason that I needed to talk about that today. And so there you go. You're going to rise above that. All right. There's some challenges to your progress, but we have progress nonetheless. All right. If it's your first time here, welcome. The way that I read is from a place of empowerment. So we're going to look at all cards as opportunities for you to be your best. I never read from a fear-based perspective. I always want you to step away feeling like you have a plan and you have an idea of where to go and where not to go. Okay? But the free will, the opportunity, the decision always sits with you. All right, let's give these cards a shuffle and see what's in store for you. All right, let's get started here. We're going to begin with the catalyst energy first. This is a chance for you to create change, action, and movement in your life. And we have a wonderful card here coming through for this, the Palomino, which is a lovely horse, but the horse was in reverse. So when I think of this, it reminds me a lot of like a knight card or the Chariot, since we see horses kind of featured prominently in both. So what this means is there may be a need to take a step back. And I also mentioned or kind of addressed the idea of progress, but like a side step or one step back. So 2 or 3 steps forward, 1 step back, it's still progress. There could also be a need to just course correct or understand something a little bit. And the Palomino comes in saying it's okay right now to take a pause, to hit the pause button for a moment and address that, because then you can make up for lost time later. You'll be able to gallop into the future, but it's important to know where you're going, why you're going there, and to believe that this is the right sort of path for you. If any of those things are unclear, step back, get the clarity, then you move forward. Let's start with the first 2 cards and get an understanding of why they're showing up. All right, so we have the 7 of Swords here. It was reversed, which means that this is a sort of cyclical thing that's on its way out. Someone may have had a way of continuing to come through and kind of like acting foolish or doing something foolish. This time around, you're gonna see it. It's gonna be obvious. So trust in the signs and signals. If it doesn't smell right, if it doesn't feel right, then I really want you to raise your hand, have a conversation, and make sure that you can address it sooner than later. With the 7 of Swords, let's look at the traditional illustration for just a moment. One of the things that I've noticed the more that I kind of read and look closer at the original card is distraction ends up playing a major part in how the main character in the 7 of Swords gets away with things. So that's why I don't want you to focus too much on gossip, on negativity, on criticism that is not constructive. It's just someone, pontificating and saying what they think. It distracts you from a bigger thing. And sometimes there are 2 people acting together. So here's your 7 of Swords. Here's people in the background, and there's something going on that takes their attention away from the foreground, which is someone getting away with something. So what you don't want is that momentary distraction to possibly take your attention from something more important. That's the main thing. It could be a little bit of internal sort of distraction where you know that it's just not worth it, or it could be external, but you're not going to let that get in the way. 7 of Swords, I talked about this in a recent daily reading too, can sometimes indicate you say something with good intentions, but you kind of know you can't carry through on it. You only make a promise that you can keep, because otherwise it amounts to the 7 of Swords. This is making sure that you're not overextending. And that's actually what's crossing this, is the 7 of Pentacles. So these 2 are like cousins. This one is on the rebound. It's starting to grow and heal. This one is still learning its lessons and still kind of looking over its shoulder. So what I like with the 7 of Pentacles is you're really going to focus on the best energetic investment, and that's going to help you make your decision. Yes, it would be stronger to just say, no, I'm overbooked, or no, it just isn't right, or no. You don't have to explain sometimes. Just say, I'm sorry, no. What's good about the 7 of Pentacles is we see you rebuilding. It's getting very close to the scene of the 8 of Pentacles, which is almost like a production line. 8 of Pentacles is about being able to learn and sort of soak things in like a sponge. So the 7 is setting you up for that. You're putting on finishing touches, you're knowing your boundaries and your limits, and you're not overdoing it. Patience is a key. This is a nice alternative to the traditional card where the guy's kind of looking at the vines growing thinking, I want it faster. Here he's saying, it's okay. I've learned that rushing doesn't save anything. I'm just going to take my time. Slow and steady wins the race. So, and actually we have that here with the 9 of Pentacles. You're showing up as already understanding that. So we'll talk more about that in a moment. So don't rush things, don't overcommit, and be as clear as you can when it comes to just saying yes or no. People are going to appreciate that in the long run, and it's going to make things easier for you. So as we look at the message from the deep past, we have Death, the Lord of Shadows, represented by either a guide or perhaps Archangel Azrael. And of course, we have that beautiful moth rising above challenge or adversity or stagnation in your life and being able to find a new opening, a new path. This month, it's really about trying things that are new, not being held back by old expectations or beliefs, and allowing your imagination, allowing the opportunities to flow in and just see where it might take you next. So the opposite of stagnation is growth, and death can also represent rebirth. It can also represent change. It's not just a card that shows this is a stop or this is stagnation. In fact, if we just take a moment to look at this, this is change and movement. This Ten of Wands is change and movement. Six of Swords is also movement, as is the Fool. So this whole sort of spread is punctuated by cards where movement and growth and change is present. Let's take a look now at the Ten of Wands and talk about what's coming in and what might be leaving. So as you know, the Ten of Wands represents graduation, movement, moving to higher grounds. It's basically accomplishing a goal that you set out to do, and now it's coming into fruition here. The only thing you want to be mindful of with Ten of Wands energy is sometimes the final legs of the journey can be a little bit overwhelming. You can sometimes feel a sense of exhaustion. The Palomino card that we're seeing here, sometimes it feels like you've taken a couple steps forward and one back, and you're focusing on looking over your shoulder here rather than looking towards the future, the horizon. So take a moment today, whenever you're watching this video, to celebrate progress, to engage with gratitude. Thank you for the opportunities presented to me. Thank you for, even just thanking yourself for being present and taking some time to look at what's going on. Reset your internal sort of narrative and I would also say just your approach, and that's going to help you get to the end. If you are doing anything with manual labor, so if you work in construction, or if you've decided to exercise a little bit more, or if you're pushing yourself just to work really long hours, don't overdo it. The Ten of Wands can slip into the Ten of Swords because you're not practicing self-care. So it's better to do less, do it better, say no, push back a little bit. That's what the Seven of Pentacles was all about. Slow and steady, which will lead you to the Nine of Pentacles, which is how you're showing up this month. So definitely continue to take your time. Let's go to your crowning card here, the beautiful Six of Swords. You're already a couple steps into something new. So the Six of Swords, it's not even at the dock. It's already kind of like heading out. It's in the water. We see the horse there. This is interesting because I'm using different decks here. So you're actually making more progress with you, and you're taking the learnings with you. When you get to the other shore, you're going to be able to hit the ground running because you've got the horse there. So if we take a moment just to look at the energy of movement here, I think it's going to help set the stage here. Right now, many of you are already in the throes of there's basically change and movement all throughout this. So we had something that was more fast moving. Death is usually something that comes upon you. So there was an announcement, there was change, there was a decision that was made. Then we see the action that you decide to do. There's a little bit of manual labor, some things you had to push, some people you had to talk to. There's a little bit of peaceful energy with the Six of Swords, but it's still very much a card that you're steering, and eventually it's going to lead to freedom. Just to summarize, it's all about intentional movement, about continuing to show up and believing that you have the potential to move it forward. And this is going to allow for the expansive energy that I saw earlier. And hopefully it'll open up one of those doors to allow you to shine, which was also part of that original download that I got earlier. So let's take a look at what's going on here in the near future. We have a potential block and also an opportunity to heal in the form of the Five of Pentacles. So in this Five of Pentacles, we can see a person that feels like they're on the outside. Again, this card is reversed, so it's a lessening of this. But we see a group of people huddled around a fire. She's over here feeling like, if I could just be a part of that. One thing that I'd like to say is sometimes when you're excluded because of a clique, because for whatever reason someone doesn't want to bring you into the fold, it can be a blessing in disguise because you realize they don't see my worth, they don't value me, or they're just fair weather friends. So one thing that you're opening up to is attracting and pulling in a group of people that are really there for the long haul, that really love you and support you. Let the other people go their own way. It's not worth the time and energy. This always represents inner child healing. So for many of you, there could be something in the deep past where there was a rejection or an opportunity that was missed, and it created a little bit of a soul scar. And this is a chance for you to heal that and say, that was one moment, one chapter, but it does not indicate the script for the entire future. I'm a different person. This is a different moment. Let's see what tomorrow might bring. And this is also a chance for you to really focus on taking care of yourself. So whenever any of the Pentacle cards are in reverse, It's introspective, it's healing, and it's restorative. So if there's anything that you've been lacking, you're going to raise your hand, speak up, or find a way to get the healing that you need, and you're going to overcome this. And that is the only thing that you really need to focus on this, is that it's a past cycle that is ready to reset. We have so many other cards that are higher with respect to Pentacles, and we'll talk about those now. A couple of things that I want to talk about outside of confidence. These also have to do with not giving away too much energy. So the 5 and the 4. 4 of Pentacles is definitely not adequate. It's inadequate. This is maybe break even, but the tendencies between the two are to give a lot more than you need to and not ask for what you need. So when it comes to personal relationships, work relationships, and extracurricular, you really want to do kind of like an energy audit, we'll call it, and think, how often and how much am I giving to these people, places, and things? And how do I feel afterwards? Sometimes giving and volunteering is perfect. Like, let's say you're volunteering time at a soup kitchen or something. You're going to do that because you had more than enough and you wanted to give back a little bit and it felt good, and that's okay. But if you're already running on empty or 20% battery, you can't keep giving so much because you have to first refill. Make sure that you're overflowing like the Ace of Cups. Then that's when you can kind of give a little bit extra. So if people are constantly taking but never refilling, then it's time to pull back and to focus on self-care and then maybe asking for more. Because what I'm seeing here for some of you could be a job or a relationship where you're giving like consistently 60, 70, 80% always, and you're only getting 20, 30, 40% back, and it is creating an imbalance. So make sure that you speak up, you advocate for more. If you're going to buy a house, you might be able to get a better deal. If you're going to negotiate for a job, a better salary. And if you're in a relationship, it's time to split the sort of responsibilities a little bit more evenly. And that's all I have to say with these two. Now let's focus on the other cards. The reason I'm kind of harping on that so much is when you show up, it's nothing but value. The 9 of Pentacles also is a reminder that, yeah, you can have all of these people around you, but you can also do it on your own. Let's look at the traditional one. I'm using the Green Witch deck today, and I like the differences, but I also like to show the original cards so we can find out why they're kind of presenting it the way that they are. So favorite features while I'm getting this card ready of the 9 of Pentacles. We see usually a woman in front of vines. Here it is, like wine, vines or grapevines. And it takes a lot of work to create those and to allow them to kind of get to the age and the health that they are. So she's worked hard to get to this moment. She is not lacking anything. She is able to take care of herself, and she's done that through hard work, maybe the School of Hard Knocks as well, and she takes her time. My favorite feature, as all of you know, is that tiny little snail in the bottom. It represents slow, steady. Also, that's a happy snail. There's a lot of food to feast on there. So you're going to have more than enough, and you can do it on your own. There's nobody in this picture. If you've been doing it on your own, you can also let other people in. So it cuts both ways. So if you're independent and fiercely so, there's a chance for partnership. If you've been working with a lot of people and you wonder, can I do it on my own? You can. You can do it both ways. Do what feels right in this moment. Don't say no to help if it's coming in, because you're one step away from the 10 of Pentacles, which is just beautiful, actually. That can be marriage, a new contract. That can be more than enough. That is basically you completing your goals and your aspirations. So the missing piece may just be a person or a helping hand. So be discerning of that. But if the right opportunity comes knocking, then that's not a bad thing. And we have an opportunity knocking in the environment here. This could be a contract signed. This could be a wish that's granted. We see the dandelion seeds floating in the air. And I don't know if you did this as a kid, but I used to make a wish on those dandelion seed heads whenever I found them as a kid. So when I see that, it means a wish that's come true. It could also be you setting into motion those little propeller head seeds that we see, a dream as well. The mouse in this particular illustration, because I just see one, is an interesting thing. It is telling you to keep an eye on the fine print, because mice are sneaky. And so when it comes to, and I love field mice, they're just little puffs that walk around on the street. Sometimes I've seen them here in LA. But again, they're sneaky. They can get into cracks. They can do, sort of like mischievous things. So because we have both a sign of wealth and an opportunity, maybe a contract sign. And then we have this one little element here that's saying, make sure that you take the time to get another set of eyes on something. If it's a contract, a lawyer, obviously. If you're doing something, get an inspector to look at it before it's done. Just make sure that every T is crossed, every I is dotted, and everything is perfect, because we can see in this Eight of Pentacles that the detail work has been started at the beginning. He has like shellac here, and he's making sure that everything is weatherproofed and looking great. So let's make sure that you finish things off, start and finish things off with that same level of attention and fine tuning. For those of you that are creative, wow, this is a really cool card. It means that what you're doing has the ability to take flight, to get attention. Someone, again, may want to sign you up or pay you for something. This can represent that contract, and I like it. All right, in the opportunity space, we have another card of movement and beginnings. This is a bookend. So on one end of the spectrum, we have the world, and then we reset with this 0 card, the green man, aka the Fool. And this one was reversed. So for some of you, again, it could be a step forward, then a step back. It could be looking at things from a different perspective or a different angle. And it could also mean that you're ready to travel or move into the unknown, getting out of your comfort zone. All of these things to me are exciting, engaging. And again, I think that this is exactly where you need to be. The Fool is basically unencumbered by the past. So if there was a difficult change or transformation in the past, you're not going to carry that with you. Instead, you're going to say, I went through some stuff. I had to learn from those experiences, but they're not going to color the future. I'm not going to worry about repeating that, because that lesson, that chapter, that experience is closed. Being able to do things face to face, really important with the Fool. So sometimes and I've been talking, I think I talked to Virgo about this, but we're so used to nonverbal communication through a quick text, a voice memo, or even an email. So much can get lost. If you can do some sort of a telepresence through Skype, FaceTime, any sort of video chat, or better yet, a face-to-face conversation, that might be exactly what you need to bring things to the next level. And it also allows you to see things from a different angle, maybe even meet someone halfway. I'm getting all of this energy with the Fool card. All right, let's now take a look at your outcome card, which was the Four of Pentacles. Believe it or not, what we see here is a door opening. Someone is knocking on the door, but sometimes what the Four of Pentacles can represent is the devil you know. And it's saying, I want to hold on to something because it feels safe, it feels comfortable. At least I know this is here. I always like to remind people, even though we don't have it yet in the spread here, that the devil you know is still just a devil, and we never want to settle for that kind of energy. So the Four of Pentacles is saying, open up. In this case, it's opening the door. If we take a look at the traditional illustration for the Four of Pentacles, we'll see someone with basically this big coin over their heart. And what they're doing is protecting themselves from the unknown, from rejection, from pain. The rejection, of course, in this particular spread was the Five of Pentacles. So it's someone taking a step back and saying, I don't want to receive that anymore. I don't want to feel that again. So if I just close myself off to new experiences, then I'll be safe. So here we can see that coin over his heart, and he's saying, if I just keep that shut, if I just keep it protected, everything's okay. And this door is saying, open it up, see what else is out there. There actually is something better awaiting you, and don't discount something before you have a chance to at least see what's knocking, see how you feel about it. And this is embracing you to just try something on first. And then you can see if it fits your energy, okay? And so I see the world opening up to you, but there's a little hesitation, and it's coming through because of this. Am I good enough? Will they like me this time? Will I experience rejection? And you can't worry about that, because everything else in this spread is really leading you in the right direction. Change and transformation. Movement that's already happened, new movement upon the sort of like shores of the future, and then more opportunity opening up. So we don't want to close down here because of something in the past. It's all about expansion. Let's move into the expansion. And I think this is a lovely way for us to go into the expanded forecast. Beginning with the energy of health, and with the standard disclaimer across all of these that I'm a tarot reader looking at energy, showing you the potential. If you have anything going on in your mind, in your finances, or in your body, work with the appropriate professional in those fields. All right, with that being said, let's look at the energy of health, and we have go now. What's interesting here again is it nicely connects with death or change or transformation, the 10 of Wands, which is movement, the 6 of Swords, which is movement, and the Fool. So for many of you, this is just a confirmation that something that you've been waiting to, some decision that you've been waiting to move on, it is for your better health. It is time now to make that movement happen. And this card, again, in the crowning position, the 6 of Swords connects with this. So action now. So now let's just take a look at the cards and see what's going on with this, where we can kind of create some movement and some change in your life and how this is affecting your health too. So some health cards. This could be something that you've needed to move away from or move on from for a while. For some of you, it could be a toxic environment, so like a relationship or a job that doesn't serve you. It could even be a living situation where you've outgrown it and it's time to move on. What we're seeing here is where you need to go might be outside of the borders that were expected with the 10 of Wands and the 6 of Swords. And this as well. So looking beyond your state, city, and province for new opportunities to live, to work, to just sort of be. So we're looking for like a physical move for some of you. Some of you are moving beyond grief. And this is something that I dealt with last year and I'm still dealing with. Whenever you lose someone that you love, it's not like you just get over them. You learn how to live with the loss and how to change and move and become someone new. You're not the same person. When someone else leaves your life, whether it's metaphorical like a divorce and there's a separation, or it's physical and they leave the planet, it still means that you change from the inside out. And that's why we have the moth on this card. So some of you are going through this really big, pivotal, transformational piece where you learn to lean on yourself. By the way, there's this beautiful connection between the 5 of Pentacles, feeling like you need someone, and then the 9 of Pentacles, learning that you were that person all along. And it's such a beautiful journey. So I'm seeing an inner strength sort of thing that's coming through for some of you, a grieving and then sort of rebounding energy. And some of you maybe are on that rebound even when it comes to relationships. So much growth really is what I'm seeing. And I'm glad we chose this deck because it's lush and green and you can see that movement. One area of vulnerability could be your ankle, foot, or lower extremity on the legs. Basically, 5 of Pentacles tends to affect that area. I'll see if I can find it really quickly. But again, with the 5 of Pentacles, sometimes you'll see a person with crutches. And basically what can happen if you're not careful is you can slide or twist your ankle. So really make sure that you're not rushing through anything, that you're watching where you're going. You put your phone away when you're walking. It's going to be like the last card here. Here we go. And that's going to save you a lot of time and energy down the road. So here's your traditional 5 of Pentacles. It's not just about feeling like an outsider, but it can sometimes just say, slow down so you don't make a mistake or a misstep in your work or your life or your health. And that's a really powerful message. This is also around the throat chakra. So some of you might be dealing with a little bit of agitation around the throat. Take care of yourself if that's the case. A lot of tension coming around the center portion of your body, so stretching and yoga would also be advantageous. Taking a trip, taking a vacation, even though we're reading in health, it's also really healthy for your productivity and your general energy if you get out of your current environment. Just take a walk or even take a trip and just see what's out there. That's going to allow for a complete mental reset and an energetic reset as well. This could also be time to connect with someone new in your life. And speaking of that, we have Apollo coming in. You want to say hi to everybody, buddy? Yeah. So spending some time, if you've been thinking of visiting someone, it could be children, relatives, friends. We have this card that can represent going on a trip or meeting them. This could be a great time for that. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for joining us. Apollo is on his own schedule sometimes, and he decided to grace us for this next part of the reading. So let's move from health to wealth and see what's going on here. So this is your resources, your life purpose, and your career. And movement is what we see here. Literally, the river and movement. So if we take this card and bring it in the upright position, we see this winding river, beautiful light shining through. The reversal of this card can mean that there's been quick changes in your life. Kind of like a flood of opportunity or a flood of emotions, because the water, of course, represents emotions as well. an interesting thing when you look at a large river like the Mississippi or the Nile. Prior to people trying to control it, it kind of just would take whatever route it wants, and kind of in the end, nature usually wins. Even with dams and things, there's a time and a place sometimes if there's a storm that it's going to break, because where nature wants to go, it typically does. So if there's a necessary change, we can actually connect these two. Maybe something fell out of your life, or you had to leave it, but now there's like this flood of opportunity or inspiration that's coming through. So I kind of like this. It may be inconvenient, but it might be exactly what you needed. And I see more resources surrounding you, the Nine of Pentacles. There's old patterns that need to leave, but you're already 1 foot in that direction. And the Palomino coming through again saying, once you embrace this new journey, you can get on that chariot and you can head in the right direction. Let's talk a little bit about wealth, and let's see where the movement can be. So a movement away from giving away too much, as we talked about before. A movement towards empowerment and independence. For some of you, this is entrepreneurial. Some of you want to focus on saving up so you can have a family one day, even though that's more Ten of Pentacles. We see the planning coming in into focus with this card, and I like that. We see increased communication. The Ace of Swords in the environment means some of you want to speak up more, some of you have more to say, some of you want to write things down. Could be also recording or creating a curriculum or something, schematics, it doesn't matter, but somehow putting things into writing, definitely coming through as an advantage, as something that could help you accomplish more when it comes to your career. Let's take a moment here and just look at 3 different things for those of you that have a job, that are looking for a job, or might be retired. If you currently have a job, I think there's a chance to level up, or to, for some of you, move on, move up. It's one or the other. So if you can't get through the glass ceiling, you're going to break it and you're going to move into something else. Movement in one way, shape, or form. And I think the important thing here is to negotiate, to speak up for what it is that you think you're deserving of, to create a safety net or a plan B if you need to, and to move beyond that if you can't get what you want. It feels like this needs to happen pretty fast. So if someone's dragging their feet again and they've given you a promise before that never came through, you know it's probably more of the same. So don't waste your time. Don't spin your wheels anymore. Okay? Remember, you have star energy this month. So it's all about rising up and shining. And if you have to dim your light where you're at, it's not where you should be. I think that many of you that are independently working, like if you have your own business, this is about taking a business trip or expanding beyond your current market, or doing some face-to-face stuff or some seminars or something. Outreach, in other words, going beyond borders and taking some trips and getting your face, your marketing, your images out there. I like that. If you're job seeking right now, it can be tough, folks. I see that with the 5 and the 4 of Pentacles. I think one of the things that you want to continue to do is to expand like your net, go beyond where you're looking for sure. The next new opportunity could be involving travel, or could be a remote sort of job in a different state, country, or province, and it's going to require telework. But you are worth it and you are worthy of an opportunity, but you may have to do a lot of applications to get this going. I think if there's any way to get a face-to-face meeting, that's going to be important. The other thing here is to continue to put out something that shows what your potential is. So for those of you that do have a social media website, or a social media presence, or a website, you want to make sure that you're continuing to update that so people can see what you're up to, and hopefully some of that can garner interest. If you're happily retired, I see this sort of itch to travel. It's been a part of the past, it's on your mind now, I can see it in the future. It might be a smaller trip than you're used to because of monetary reasons, and that's okay. You don't have to spend a lot to get a lot out of an experience. So think about when you're going to travel and maybe adjust the timeline so you can find some savings there. That's everything that I see with respect to sort of career and life purpose. I think many of you are going to pivot or try something different, and you might even be thinking about saving up for a longer term thing, whether it's school or starting up your business. I see a lot of sort of like premeditated planning, and I like that. That'll help you avoid from stretching yourself too thin. All right, let's move on now to love, which is romantic, platonic, friends, family, all of that energy, because love is a universal currency when it comes to that. We have a reverse card. Let's look at it upright so we can read it. When I think I've surrendered, I surrender more. It's showing that there's always room to go a little bit deeper. So in the case of relationships, there might be a chance to take it to the next level. It does require both parties to feel the ability to be vulnerable, to be present, and it can be hard sometimes to put yourself out there. But this is showing that there's a chance to rebound, there's a chance to go deeper, there's a chance to experience even more than you imagined. I always like to look at relationships on 3 levels when we do this part of the reading. First thing that I like to look at are those that are in an existing relationship. Then I go to those that are single and looking, followed by those that are single and happy. In existing relationships, there's a lot of karmic energy coming through because, again, in the deep past, we have death. Death represents previous lifetimes. It also represents one of the key challenges right now, which is change. So you or your partner may have significantly changed from the point where you originally met. And right now there could be some growing pains and kind of like a realignment here. I always like to look at it as if the relationship is healthy and there are challenges. Then I look at it if there are cracks in the relationship. So for a healthy relationship, again, it's just about a big shift. This death card can actually also represent a death of an old self. So even on the heels of having a baby, getting a new job, losing a parent, anything like that, it can be a significant shift. Then there's all these movement cards, and you're actually going to excel in the change. Big change, fast. You doing the work with your partner working with you. We have 2 cards of movement and then a rebirth. This can also be a baby. So like I said, there's something new and there's a chance to reimagine yourself and be reborn in this relationship. But if you guys hold on to the past and don't open yourself up to potential, that's where the cracks start to show. There could also be a difficulty in one partner validating the other. So this is someone who keeps their heart a little bit close, keeps, opinions and thoughts and energy close to their heart, but don't sort of, you're not letting the partner in on things. And that makes them feel like they're on the outside looking in. So intimacy requires a little bit of vulnerability. And the more vulnerable you can be with one another, the closer you can be. It looks like communication's open, which I like. Not seeing a lot of cups. I'm not seeing a lot of wands here. So it might be, the intimacy might be lacking and just having some fun. So these can also represent traveling. So what I'm seeing is partners in different places, maybe not connecting, like ships in the night, going past each other. Slow down a little bit, be present, talk about hopes and fears. If you can do this, you've got this. If not, if you're resisting change, it's going to be difficult for you to grow and go to the next level. This is also a fiercely independent card, the 9 of Pentacles. So one or both of you may have really strong independent streaks, and that could be one of the challenges this month. By and large, it feels like growth and expansion is upon you. I have a hard time seeing a way that you wouldn't be able to move into this. It just boils down to opening up and feeling safe, and that's something that you'll have to work on together. And maybe that's something that might be benefited by couples therapy or maybe taking a trip together or something like that. Okay? And so basically, I do feel like you can move through it. There is a little bit of inner child healing. For those of you that have a new baby or thinking of starting a family, you definitely want to do the work on yourself first. Make sure your partner has done that before having to sort of like test this out and do healing and parenting and things of that nature. Don't be afraid to talk about money. Money could be a stressor this month as well. All right, that's everything for existing relationships. It does look manageable. There is a deep bond from the past. And again, maybe some of you just went through a really difficult loss, challenge, or development in your life, not completely within your control, but one that can deepen the relationship if you allow it. If you're looking for love this month, you're pulling in a karmic relationship. Travel would be a great way to meet someone or while you're out and about. It doesn't feel like this is something that is orchestrated. It's something that is organic. I think that one thing to be mindful of is there is some healing to be done. There could also be some financial stuff that you want to sort out before you start to connect with someone, because all 3 of these cards, this is the recovery one, but these 2 are showing some old tendencies. Self-worth equals net worth. I feel like you've got all the potential between these 2 cards, but there's something cognitively or emotionally that could be holding you back from accomplishing that. You want to be fiscally, physically, and emotionally very fit before you bring in a new person in your life. So really focus on those things first. If you're looking for someone, they're closer than you think. And this Four of Pentacles represents opportunity knocking on the door. So again, it's really just about you being open to a different type of relationship or different type of person. It's not exactly how you expected it, but the openness and the willingness to explore is what's going to be important to you. This could also be someone who belies their age. So an old soul in a young body, or a young person with a lot of wisdom, or this immediate connection because of that past life energy. The karma from the past is abandonment, and it's about self-worth. And so that's the things that you want to work on overcoming before reconnecting with somebody in this lifetime. Okay, and these definitely, we've got two past life energies here with Death and Six of Swords. So I see an ability to create a strong bond, but you need to do some work on yourself first, okay? For those of you that are single and happy, I actually think you're in the perfect energy right now, because this is a time to expand your horizons, maybe do some personal travel. It looks like you're making some great headway on your financial and maybe even your physical health. And so I would love for you to continue on that. It also looks like it's a time to try new things. And as you're doing all of this, again, when you least expect it, you still may meet someone or make a connection. I think the main thing for everybody in the sign of Scorpio this month is to stay open to what opportunity is knocking on the door, whether it is in friendship or money or personal development. There's something unexpected this month, and that's kind of exciting. So keep an open mind. So that's everything with respect to love. Now let's take a look at destiny. This changes every month based on your actions and your thoughts and your ideas. And we have a splash sort of card here, a whale of a time. You're in charge. Or it's actually saying here, your charge is to enlarge. So you're supposed to go big, go bigger than you expect. With this card in reverse, I think of a whale making a splash, making an entrance, being itself. Whales are also gentle giants. So, you might be a different kind of leader or a different kind of person than you've seen in your past, where you don't have to boast, you don't have to sort of like prove things, you can just be strong, be bright, and by doing that, it's going to bring in these opportunities. So I really love whale. It's one of the kings of the sea, but it's not what you would normally think of. We think of the shark sometimes, but I love the whales. They're big, they're bold, they're gentle. And, if we were to think of, that would be the King of Cups. So this is really telling you to be your own energy here, be the King of Cups, and embrace sensitivity, sensibility, your own sort of intuition and your own leadership. And that is going to put you in your sort of sweet spot when it comes to growth. I would like to do something different today, and I don't always read these particular components anymore, but I want to see why cups aren't present. So I have a reader's choice that I want to look at right now, and let's see if it lends a little bit of clarity on things. So for the reader's choice, let's shuffle right now and see what's coming through. Why are there no cups? What can you do to open your heart or connect more to others? Okay, we have the Emperor in reverse. In this particular deck, it's the Horned God. So what we're seeing here for some of you is, we talked about the Surrender card. This is a control card, and this is saying sometimes we have to just let go. You have to just sort of let your heart be free. You have to just give in to passion. You just have to sort of like go with the flow. So what we're seeing here for some of you, the reason it's hard to connect with the heart space, the reason we're not seeing a lot of cups, is there's this desire to make everything neat and tidy and controllable. And the river's coming through and it's saying that's not how it works. So you can control what you can control, and then there comes a point where you step back and you allow yourself to be carried or allow yourself to be directed by intuition, by passion, and also by opportunities that present themselves to you. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to put yourself out there. And you may find that when you do that, you have a lot more company, a lot more admirers than you might imagine. This is a really cool Emperor card, isn't it? So just be bold, be strong, be yourself, be sensitive too. I think that we're getting a lot of King of Cups energy that wants to come through in this reading, so embrace that. Now let's go ahead and expand this to take a look at Sun, Rising, and Moon and see what is in store for you. Okay, let's begin with Sun. We have the Page of Wands. This is a rather magical card. So we see this Page of Wand really using that wand almost as if it is a magic wand and opening things up, saying, hey, have you thought about this? Hey, take a look at this. It's you communicating, demonstrating, and pointing attention towards the areas of growth and opportunity. So you're going to paint the picture. You're going to set the stage. And you do that by showing up, showing, demonstrating. And it's not always about talking. It's sometimes just about creating, like in work, this can even be like a prototype, but it's showing people that it can be done and getting them behind it because they're like, oh, it's really not that much that I have to invest. I think this is possible. I could see how this would work. So I really, really like this for you. You have to see it and believe it for other people to see it and believe it too. And that could be the challenge here, is in your own sort of beliefs. Pages are good at listening. They're also good at researching. So take some time to do your homework. Show people that you've done your homework and see how that might change the narrative and also sort of change the tide, if you will. Moving on to Rising, which is going to hit a lot of times in work, in social spheres, and we talked a little bit about the challenges that could be going around there. I see it in this card. So we have a really cool illustration for the 10 of Swords. In this one, we see someone basically surrounded by those swords, and it is kind of encouraging you to have proper boundaries. The 10 of Swords can be something that you can move beyond. And I'm seeing this as saying, this might have worked in the past, but no longer. Here's sort of the line in the sand. This is where my limit is. And you don't allow people to cross that. And so this time around, by knowing who you are, knowing how far people can cross the line, you're going to save yourself the trouble. Whenever I see a 10 of Swords reversed, it's really about healing. It's saying, I've already been down that path of challenges, of pain, of frustration. It doesn't serve me. It doesn't suit me anymore. And I'm going to pull up the traditional card here. So what you can see in the traditional card is there's already the breaking of a new dawn behind. It's kind of like the picture that I have right here in the corner. We see a new day breaking right there in the background. So it's a little bit graphic, but the person is looking at the new day and they're sort of over the past. So same thing here. We're letting go of the past. You're focusing on putting your passion, your power into something better. And that's going to be what's important for healing. This is the first step towards a rebound, towards almost like the Judgment card, the Phoenix rising from the ashes. Whatever challenges you faced were to make you stronger. Let me see if I still have this deck handy from yesterday. When I read for Libra, there was this beautiful 10 of Swords that had a picture of an owl. Here we go. This is one of my favorite 10 of Swords illustrations too. So look at this. Look at how experiences have led to wisdom. We have the wisdom of the owl and the wisdom of the older man here. So sometimes we just have to go through it so we know what we don't want. And I feel like many of you have earned that opportunity to say, I know I don't want this. Now I know I want this, and I'm ready to go for it. Okay? In the moon sign, we have the moon. And what we see here for the moon in reverse is not to be afraid of talking about things that are important. They're going to find a way to show the light of day anyway. They're going to come out. So this is a time for you to say, I'm curious about this, or I'm concerned about this, or let's talk about that. Whatever it is that you feel needs your attention, you're right. It's an important time to look at that. This is a highly intuitive and instinctive card. So when you feel it in your bones, yes, do this, no, don't do that, listen. You are being led by your own insight. It's a reflective card. So some of you are getting a different perspective, a different view of something. So use your intuition, talk about things that matter. And if you see a pattern that you've seen before, you're not going to go through that again. A lot of sort of recovery, rebounding, and to me, this feels like it's the one thing that is on the edge of you being able to break through. So one last card, we're going to pull a big idea, and then we're going to go into the meditation. The big idea, I want to kind of, it's almost like a second reader's choice, but I want to say, how can you focus on expansion? Because I saw the star at the beginning, and I want to see what you can do to really break through. Queen of Wands. Just be strong, just show up, just basically push through to the finish line. She is one of the most magical of all four queen cards, because she's able to sometimes make something happen seemingly out of nothing. She just pushes through to the finish line. And I think that it is the perseverance, the stubbornness, and the ability for you to simply create your own fire, create your own sort of passion that's going to be the key to success this month, okay? So you may not find it in your environment, you may not find it in your leadership, but you're going to find it from within. And that's where the power is, that's where the passion is. And that's very sort of connected to what's true for your sign. All right, let's get ready now for the meditation. If you don't mind, take a nice deep breath, close your eyes, stick around for the next 2 to 3 minutes here as we do a little bit of inner child healing, and then I'll take a look. If any of you have a final question, we'll look at that. And the final question is a chance for you to silently meditate on something that I haven't already looked at, and I'll do my best to help you out with that. In the meantime, please just close your eyes, take a nice deep breath, and let go of the need to control, to see, to feel, to know everything. Just be present, just be in the flow. Good. Instead of a river, let's just imagine that you're in a stream and it just comes up to your ankles, because I saw the 5 of Pentacles and I want to do a little bit of healing with the ankles and then the inner child as well. So imagine that you are standing in a stream, or you're sitting right on the edge of it. So, you're seated on the ground, but your feet are in the water, and you see a beautiful tree above you, and the light is shining through it. So you've got all the elements and energies around you, creating this sense of safety and also fluidity. As the water gently goes over your feet, feel that it's taking with it any sort of pain or frustration or energy from the past that you don't want anymore. If there's a person, place, or thing that you want to release, breathe in, and on the exhale, imagine that the water is taking it away. Push your feet a little bit deeper into the seat of the stream and really feel connected to the earth. Now, with this sense of movement, imagine with your eyes closed that you're moving energetically closer to whatever it is that you want to create in your life. And just stay here on the shore of this stream as I play the singing bowl, and then we'll come back in a moment and look at the final question. Take a couple of deep breaths and slowly imagine that you are walking out of the water onto the ground, allowing for the sun to shine on your body, feeling this sense of being plugged into your power, to your potential, and know that you are one step closer to shining brightly like the star that I saw in my dreams and meditation, and allowing yourself to accomplish your hopes, your dreams, and your goals. If you haven't already done so, please open your eyes and now focus on the final question that you have for me. It can be anything that we haven't talked about so far. Just focus on that question. Let me go ahead and shuffle the cards and we'll see what's coming through. So in the deep past, we have the Devil card, and the Devil card is really an encouragement for you to take a step back and pause. It doesn't necessarily mean that something isn't going to work, but there are 2 or 3 things that could be going on. The first is an internal fear or an anxiety. And before you move forward, if it was a yes/no question, you have to get past that. You don't want to make a decision when you're feeling pressured or like you don't have any other choice. A lack of choices or being sort of pushed in something, that would constitute devil energy. Some of you may feel like there is some sort of situation that's being set up where you're not going to be able to succeed. It's like a trap, and you have to raise your hand and say, this needs to be dealt with first. It could also simply be too constraining, whatever's in front of you. I think this is an encouragement to look in a different direction and to try something different. Definitely, we don't want to get overreactive about this because it's just a matter of pausing and redirecting and looking at something. The way to kind of overcome the devil is honesty, clarity, transparency, truth. Make sure that whatever you're engaging with, whatever the next thing is that you're doing, that those energies are around you. And as long as that's happening, you'll be able to diffuse that. There could be something better on the horizon, though, and I'll always say that if I see a card like that, okay? And that's the final question for today and the final message for today. Remember, though, today was about movement. When we saw Deep Past, it was all about transformation. We have the Moth and the Lord of Shadows saying something beautiful. It's like Lord Azrael here, or Archangel Azrael coming through, saying, you are ready now to take a step in a new direction. So this is all about that growth and that transformation, so don't lose sight of that. All right. Thank you, everybody, for showing up today. I really appreciate your time and energy. If you could please give me a like and subscribe, I would appreciate it. That way you'll also never miss out on a future video. Additionally, if you'd like to follow me across social media, it's always my first name and last name. And if you ever need sort of a clarification, you can go to the About page here or to my website. I do not offer private readings. When or if somebody offers that on social media, you know it's an imposter, so you can block and report. Thank you in advance to everybody that gave or is about to give here. I appreciate it. The ways that you can give back are through Super Stickers, Super Chat, and Super Thanks on replay. Since I'll be live in the chat, I've already said thank you to everybody here. But for those of you watching for the first time or later on replay, thanks and welcome. I really do appreciate your help. And again, the engagement in the comments below really makes a difference. So if you don't mind giving me some sort of a comment below and just letting me know what resonated, that helps me out as well. Again, the reason it does is it helps other people discover the videos. So thank you in advance for doing that. All right, everybody, a reminder, I'm here every Monday, Thursday, and Friday with live premieres for the monthly videos. I'm here every Sunday with a live stream and every day for a daily card read. Additionally, I show up for celestial readings for the moon, for the sun, so keep an eye out for those as well. Wishing you all the best in the months and days ahead. I hope to see you here real soon, and thank you so much for spending some time with me. I do appreciate it. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.